Body hurt.
Contact!
You do not have the authority to execute a prisoner of war.
He's not a prisoner unless I take him prisoner.
You plan to let him bleed out? He needs a surgeon. We have to take him in.
We are representing the United States of America. Who are we?
Forget who you are fighting here.
Let them collect their dead. We're human.
Get off of me!
They're coming.
Jack,
right.
Jeff in Las Vegas. Good morning.
Hey, good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you too, man. Really excited, man. I love your film, man. I love Foxhole. Just fantastic. What a great accomplishment.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
So you started making films when you were 15, same as me, but I'm old school. I made them on 8mm film, back in
Wow.
the 80s when I was in high school,
Yeah.
Generation X. And your generation in the digital age, I'm so envious because even in film school, I'm cutting trims off 16mm films and shooting with Bolexes. And, I got the best of both worlds, but man,
Yeah.
just digital age, you have this freedom now, that affordability too, that you can make films at such a young age, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we could never have done this movie if not for digital cameras and all of that, and digital editing too. It's funny you're talking about splicing 16 because I just made a short film where we edited on the Steenbecks and finished on film, and because I'm in college here, I'm finishing my senior year at Wesleyan, and that here we do that. We shoot on 16, we shoot on the Bolex, and we cut physically. And I learned so much doing that though, because I had made these movies, I'd edited in Premiere, and it all felt kind of transactional now in retrospect compared to when you have so much time goes into every single choice that you make when you're editing physical film, and it's all so much more consequential. So you make more careful choices, and I'm definitely going to carry that onwards.
Dude, I used a Steenbeck, a big flatbed thing, editing my films. I used a Moviola. We had those stand-up
Wow.
Moviolas
Yeah.
at UNLV, and Final Cut, by the way, not Premiere. But I'll fight you. Was there a moment for you, Jack, when you wanted to be a filmmaker? For me, I was 11, and kids think movies are real, right? But there's
Yeah.
that moment in your life where all of a sudden they're not pretending anymore. So I was watching Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Yeah, I'm dating myself, in the theater, and I saw a director. I'm like, for the first time, I thought to myself, what are these jobs? I mean, people make these movies. So that was like a turning point for me, ordering catalogs from USC and Cal Arts for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And so was there a moment for you when that the light went off that you wanted to be a filmmaker?
Yeah, I think, I was raised in a household of filmmakers. My mom is a stop motion animator and a production designer, and my dad is a horror filmmaker and actor and everything. He does everything. And so it was just the energy of the household was filmmaking. That was our form of play. When I was a kid, I would run outside with my point and shoot camera and my friends, and so it started as a form of play. And then I think when I was in my early teens, like 12 or 13, I started to realize that this, I wanted my next one to be real. Like I wanted it to be a real movie. I didn't want it to just be one of these things I'd made before. And I shot a zombie buddy movie in 2013 with my friend Alex Hoffman. And, I remember the feeling of when it was finished and it wasn't a real movie yet. I was just so frustrated. That couldn't be right. So then I had to do it again. I needed it to look like a real movie. And so, I just had this thirst for it, I think. And, I also got the experience of having it show at a festival and having an audience of, a room full of people that wasn't my family and friends. And that was, I was kind of hooked on that feeling. It felt really special.
I know that feeling too. So
Yeah.
Your latest movie, Foxhole, inspired by a real life family. Man, this was an ambitious shoot. I mean, period settings, costumes, special effects. Did you have a lot of sleepless nights? I just, as a filmmaker myself, I don't know if I could ever sleep So
Yeah,
many things.
I felt once production was underway, you just kind of ride the wave, and I'm lucky that I can get a good night's sleep under pressure. But it was yeah, it was a hard shoot. We had to do it very quickly. We had only 5 days per war to shoot it. So we started in the Civil War. We basically dug a hole in a field, the one that's behind you, that picture. We dug a hole in a field, and we put a huge tent up over it so we could trap in light and control the light, keep the rain out, keep the wind out, but also trap this fog that I was obsessed with for the Civil War part. It turned to be a whole nightmare in post production. We had to do a bunch of rotoscoping. So yeah, we shot in this tent, and we had only 5 days per war because over the weekend the art department would churn up this earth and change the set into the next time period, and there was no going back.
No going back.
So
Yeah.
we shot it in order, and then for the last one we parked the Humvee in the tent and blasted light through the windows, and that was that. And then for one day we got the crew and cast to fly out to L.A. to shoot in that desert for when they bust out of the Humvee at the
Right.
end.
I was gonna say that looked a little, that kind of looked different than the other settings. That
Right.
was a great shot. It reminds me of a movie. I'm a classic movie fan, big time. And there's a movie called Battleground from 1949. Have you seen this?
Yeah, it's so funny. Someone just told me to watch that after
Yeah.
after seeing Foxhole. I gotta see it.
Yeah, because it stars Van Johnson and it's all about the Battle of the Bulge, but a majority of the movie, they're in foxholes. I mean, they're sitting there in the Ardennes forest with the snow around them being surrounded, and it's all these different storylines. They're always in foxholes. So that reminded me a lot of your
Oh,
movie.
that's beautiful. I actually really want to see that. It's funny that you say Battle of the Bulge, because that is the true story that inspired this movie took place at the Battle of the Bulge. What happened was my grandfather, my mom's dad, had recently passed away in 2014, and then she told me this story of her dad's comrade in World War II, who was sheltering in a foxhole in Battle of the Bulge during artillery fire when a German soldier jumped into the hole. So there's a German and an American in a foxhole. And instead of drawing their weapons, the German ended up speaking English very well, and they talked. They sort of shared the night in there as they were sheltering in place, and they had a lot in common. And at dawn, they parted ways, and then many years later, back in the States, the American guy, Morton, is just in his hometown in upstate New York, and he notices there's a guy following him in the convenience store, and he turns to confront him, and it's the German. And he says, "Do you remember me?"
Wow.
And he says, "Of course, I'll
How
never
could you
forget it."
forget, right?
The two men, yeah, they remained connected through their whole lives. And so I heard that story when I was 14, and I just thought, well, this is too good. I mean, I have to make a movie out of this. I was very touched by it.
It's a great story.
Yeah, and ironically, it feels like the most unlikely thing that happens in the movie. It might not even be real in the movie, but it's the only part that's true. So that was the seed of the story, and then I made another movie in the meantime, Stray Bullets. But then after that was done, I came back around to Foxhole, and I figured, well, I want to make another feature, but this is too short for that, so I'll just do it 3 times in 3 different time periods, and that was the beginning of that.
And you shot in Woodstock, New York, where.
Yeah.
And you're also having the premiere, right, at the Woodstock Film Festival?
That happened last year.
Yeah, that's when that already happened.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
isn't that kind of icing on the cake to shoot it in Woodstock and then have the premiere at Woodstock?
Oh yeah, no, it's such a cozy feeling up there, and Mayra from the festival has always been so supportive of me. Mayla, yeah.
Man, you were out of the gate running. You're one to watch. I'm telling you, man. Congratulations! What an
Thank
amazing
you, I
film.
appreciate it.
Got to leave you with, I'm a MASH fan, and there's a great episode where Harry Morgan is like a crazy general, and he's inspecting the troops. And he comes across Father Mulcahy, and out of blue just goes, "There are no atheists in foxholes."
Yeah. I had to throw that one in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, "I've heard that." So man, I just love your attention to detail and fantastic storytelling. Jack, thanks so much, man. Let's talk again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jeffrey. Appreciate it.